Well, hello, and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and ITY TV interview. I'm joined today by Mark Fazio. He's the General Manager of Australian telecommunications, mobile, and NBN internet provider, Mate. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Alex, nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining. Now, you've got a very clever domain name, letsbemates.com.au. And, that's always something easy to remember and easy to tell. And of course, it's a very Australian sort of thing as well. But there are a lot of mobile and internet providers in Australia. So I guess the first question is, what makes Mates, NBN, and mobile offerings different?
Well, first of all, I think when people ask me what's Mate about, telco is what we do, not who we are, right? And so I think that's how we plan our differentiator in the market. So we focus on the customer at heart first, and then if I look at a definition of our business, we say the definition of Mate is we're a customer happiness business that happens to sell telco products. And so our view is we focus on the customer first,
Yep.
and then we'll get the sale later. And so, if I look at when we started we started Mate back in roughly April 2016, and the reason why we did this was to the reason why the brand was created was to make sure that Mate wasn't a faceless telco like other telcos at that time. It was also about, at that time, if you looked at the research, people were locked into consumers were locked into contracts that they didn't understand, and they'll basically, and we wanted to be the Mate of the telco world. So somebody you could trust. We always say, choose a provider you can trust like a mate. You know what? Like, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your mates, right? And so
Right.
when it comes to telco, you can literally pick your mates. And so, that's where we came. That's where we come up with the Mate concept, and I feel like it's worked. Over the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you started since 2016, that's already 5 years now.
Yeah, 5 years. I mean, if I look at what I was doing everything I was doing on the weekends, because I was living in Singapore working for Microsoft, and this was a dream between my twin brother and I. He worked in the wholesale world. So at that time, he worked for a company called M2, which is now owned by Vocus, and he was the wholesale manager. He saw the gap in the market around providers not focusing on NBN because they were still making the 70 points of margin with ADSL. We had an opportunity. Let's get in the market now. Go out with no contracts, unlimited data, and all Aussie service, and see how we go. And the rest is history.
Now, one of the other things is that there's been a trend towards bringing customer service back to Australia. But you always had a customer service team. That's how you started, right?
Correct. Always on shore. And the reason for that is that the NBN, as you would know, right, as the audience would know, is that it's a very convoluted process, right? There's multiple technologies. All different dresses have different, technologies. Understand, like, if, for example, if you look at unit blocks, the internet may be connected to the unit block, but not connected inside the unit block. And so it's a very convoluted process. And outsourcing that is a real challenge, right? How do you teach somebody in a different country to teach a consumer about their NBN service when they have no clue what NBN is? And hence the reason why we kept it on shore. If you look at mobile's quite easy. You get a SIM card, you get connected, you're ready to go, right? NBN's quite convoluted, and I think that's been the difference, right? Especially, and where it's really taken off is during COVID, right? What's happened during the first sort of lockdown in COVID last year, a lot of our competitors that have overseas call centers closed down, right? Because in the Philippines, they couldn't answer the phone calls. And all these different things, and people saw the benefit of an Australian call center. Now, it's not that I disagree to outsource call centers, but I think they just need to be better trained and better equipped, right? And I think that all has its place. But for us, this is our differentiator, and we thought it was the way to go to ensure that the customer was at the heart of everything that we do.
Yeah. Now, I remember Amasim, one of their propositions was that they also had onshore service, and their offices at the time, I'm not sure if it's still there, but it was in Bridge Street in the Sydney CBD, and they had their customer service people there. So just out of curiosity, where are your customer service people?
So our customer service is in our big office out in Wetherill Park in Western Sydney. And so that's the whole call centre is based there, from part-timers to casual to full-time staff. And so roughly in our call centre, I think we've got about, now we're cracking about 43 people. So it's grown it literally started in my auntie's backyard, literally, right?
Yeah.
Where we, my auntie's backyard with one person call center, and now we're a proper business and rocking and rolling. We're Western Sydney.
And just out of curiosity, with all the social distancing and COVID restrictions, I mean, do some of these people have to work from home? Have you had to space people apart in the call center? What have you had to do in a nutshell?
Absolutely. So if we look at the full-time staff that have been there for a while, they're very well educated and don't need too much support. And so they're nice and easy to work from home, right? Mm-hmm. There's the casual and part-time staff who probably they're not there all the time, so they need a bit more help. And so they come into the office and we spread them out, right? Mm-hmm. So, like we make sure that we put, 2 spots between every person. The good thing is connectivity is classified as an essential service, so we are allowed to go to the office, which breaks up the week a bit as well.
Yep.
But yeah, so we literally put 2 pods between each person, which allows us a social distance. We do the masks and we do what we can in what we've got, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you announced in late August is Mates Rates, which is a type of modern loyalty plan, but without the minus of fiddly points balances. So can you please tell us all about Mates Rates?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, we didn't want to have a point system because how do you work out how much a point is worth? How do you even distinguish if I'm connected for 3 months or I paid this bill, all those different things? And I think they can, reward programs are always great, but they can be over-engineered as well,
yeah.
right?
And you can have points inflation as well, where suddenly everything costs twice as many points, and it's crazy.
Exactly. And so, the good thing is that we've always been focusing on that. Telco, internet and mobile is something that people need. It's not something that people are passionate about, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do we make our service offering more passionate to the people that we've got? And so we've worked with a bunch of partners that offer things that we need every day, from HelloFresh for food to Malt Shovel for a good beer, craft beer, to appliances online for your new microwave, right? And so the whole concept is for the benefit of being a Mate customer, you get exclusive discounts through these partners just for being a Mate customer that you can't get as a normal consumer. Mm. And that's literally it, right? And so the benefit to obviously our partners is they get obviously increased customers. The benefit to our customers is there's more reasons to be a Mate customer, right?
Yeah. So what are one or two of the deals on offer at the moment? Yeah, so, and I know it could change when people watch this, but
yeah, exactly. So for Malt Shovel, which is a craft brewery brand, right? They sell in the big guys, like they sell in Dan Murphy's, etc. So we get it at cost, well, what they call consumer cost price, and our customers get even a further 5% discount. We've HelloFresh. I think it's $200 off your first couple of boxes. I have to double check that, but there's quite a significant offer on the HelloFresh stuff as well. And with appliances online, I think it's you spend a certain amount of money and you get a discount on that as well.
Sure. And obviously you're looking for other people who would like to be part of the Mates Rates program, and tell us about that.
So we've got other people coming up, like Dollar Shaver Club, all right, coming on board as well. And so we've got some. I mean, if anybody out there that has a consumer product that they want to get into people's hands, if you can give us a great deal, we would love to pass it on to our customers. We don't expect anything in return apart from a good deal for our customers.
Yeah. Now, one of the extra special deals you have for your mobile customers on all of the plans except the cheapest one is a partnership with streaming service Tidal. So tell us more about this partnership.
Yeah, again, it gets back to my point around telcos, what we do, it's not who we are, right? And so how do we keep distinguishing ourselves from our competitors, right? And so mobiles, I mean, if you look at price on the market, it's not much of a muchness. It's maybe $10 here, up or down, depending on what service you get. Gig amounts are becoming the same. Data banking, all those things are becoming pretty standard in all offering,
including international calls and all sorts.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And our view is that, again, people need a mobile. It's not what they're passionate about, unless you're getting to handsets. Handsets are a different thing, right? But our view is how do we make ourselves stand out? Well, you know what? Consumers love music. Everybody loves music in some way, shape, or form. We've been able to strike a deal with Tidal to offer a music streaming service for free when bundled with a selected Mate mobile plan. And so what we're doing, we're saving the consumer nearly $11.99 a month because they would be paying either Spotify or something else. And just for choosing Mate as your mobile provider, you get that included, right? And so, I mean, for us, it's a what we call a value-added service approach that we've got. But also Tidal is it's not big in Australia, but it's big in the US, right? And it allows them their brand to go, to be stretched here. But for us, it allows it to add theatre into our brand. Like for example, we announced recently that we're going to do a music collaboration with Aussie music artists, and to try and support the music industry. We're going to leverage Tidal for that, and so on and so forth. And I think as a consumer, like, why wouldn't you choose a mobile provider that's giving you something that you're passionate about for free, which is music? And you know what? If you go to our blog post, there's a quick video of how to switch all your playlists from Spotify to Tidal. So yeah, it's a no-brainer.
So that you also have a content partnership with the World Wrestling Entertainment people. So tell us about that.
Well, let's start with, that's probably a childhood memory that I've brought to life in my 40-plus-year-old years, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, look, again, we're all about theatre in our brand. We don't want to be the traditional telco that it talks a telco talk that calls itself the telco name. We want to make sure that people get entertained when they be our customer, right? And so the WWE is, a global massive brand for 30 plus years, if not more. The content partnership allows us to integrate into their audiences, right? And to potentially talk to their audiences in a way they like to be talked to, which is through their assets and their talent. Not only that, it gives we through that partnership we get, apart from the exclusive content, we get things like get a chance to speak to your favorite wrestler and all these different things that only mate customers can get. And so what it does, it allows us to offer something very different to an audience that's passionate about that, and just by being a mate customer, similar to Tidal and all those different things, right?
But you did it because you're a WWE fan, right? Really?
Yeah, it started that way. Actually, it's the kids that are now the fans, right? So if you look at like I've got nieces and nephews who are hardcore, WWE fans, and maybe it started with making them excited. Uncle Mark, he's got the WWE coming, a partnership. I've got them a free replica belt, for example. So I'm a favourite uncle now, so it's good.
Yeah. And have you done some sort of marketing campaign that says, stop wrestling with complicated phone plans, just contact your mate?
We have below the line, absolutely. Social, absolutely leveraging those brands. But that, you know what? You actually said it better than I could. That's awesome. Yeah, we definitely use that. And look, the thing is, we're looking to do more with them as well.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to grow these partnerships and make them exciting, 100%. And figure out, how you have a big M or something on that belt, right in the middle. And
100%. I like what you're thinking.
Now, I guess it's all top secret, but are there any other content partnerships that you can give us a sneak peek on?
Yes, there's plenty, right? Like content marketing, we know is huge and it attracts a lot of activity. We've got plenty, like apart from the stuff that we've mentioned with music outside of Tidal, obviously with WWE, like we've got some partnerships with football teams as well, which we're looking to try and do some content with. But we've also got some other streaming providers that we're looking to bring on as a bundle service as well with some of the things. So like what we've done with Tidal, where we bundled that for free with our mobile plans, we're looking at some other ones that we're working with to hopefully offer them as a bundle as well with our internet plans and mobile plans. So yes, we've got about 3 in the making.
Sure. And I know that sometimes some of these streaming deals are data free, but I mean, that was more of a concern in the era when we had smaller data plans. People are at home now, Wi-Fi's everywhere. But are any of these, and it doesn't, if the answer is no, it's like I said, it's not such a big deal, but are any of these streaming deals going to be data free, or it's not really needed these days?
It's something we're working on, but they won't be initially. But if you look at our utilization, so out of all the data that we provide, only 19% of all the data we provide to our customers is actually being used on a monthly basis.
Right. So we've got plenty of
we've got data banking. So if you look at one of our highest banks, we've got 400 gig worth of data banking, right? And so there is, my opinion as being a telco provider, people see value in higher gigs, but honestly, no one's using it. Yeah, literally no one's using it. So, I think gone are the days of stream free, because I think there's enough bandwidth there. To your point, you go home, you're on Wi-Fi, you go to work, you're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And you're only on public transport for, an hour or something. I mean, you're not that disconnected from Wi-Fi when you're out and about. No,
not at all. And look, don't get me wrong, it's still something part of our plan.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe it's not even needed anymore.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, who is your MVNO, your telco provider for the mobile plans?
Yeah, so it's Telstra. So we've got an MVNO with Telstra. So we're part of the Telstra wholesale business. So we're doing some good numbers for them. So working hard with them. So they're our key partner, and so it allows us to be in more places as well with the premium network.
So you mentioned soccer before, and you've got soccer stars Sam Kerr and Matt Ryan as ambassadors, along with sponsoring teams across several sports. So you mentioned why you're so passionate about WWE, and I guess many of those reasons are why you're so passionate about all the sports.
Sports to us represent what our brand's about, which is competitive spirit. We're a challenger brand, right? We're football, soccer, if you want to call it, is the underdog, right? And so of sports. So we saw that as a key benefit of key value of our brand. Competitive spirit, absolutely, right? And so we see sport deliver that. But if we look at Sam and Matt, when we started, we wanted to be known for saving Aussies against bad service and bad internet. And Matty Ryan is literally a keeper. That's what he does every day. He literally saves Australia when he plays for Australia with his hands. Yeah. And then the other thing we wanted to be known for is kicking goals for Aussies, right? And Sam Kerr, that's all she does. She's one of the world's best players. She kicks goals for Aussies every week in, week out. And that was how they came about. And when we thought about who's going to represent us to not be a faceless telco, what are the values we want to represent? That's where those two guys came in, right? And then if I look at our other team partnerships, they're all about hitting different places, right, and different audience. Like Central Coast Mariners in the A-League is one of our main teams. If you look at the Central Coast, there's no other professional sporting teams apart from the Mariners. So it gives us an uncluttered market and supporting a real community team. And so, again, it's about, it goes back to being an underdog and about competitive spirit. That's where all that comes into.
Yeah. And look, I'm a big fan of that Apple TV show, Ted Lasso, which is all about soccer.
Awesome.
Although a friend of mine is a soccer player. He says, it's got a bit of soccer. It's more of a drama, but he laughs when I show it to him. He laughs and laughs, because it's such a funny show. So soccer's always been a big part of Australia in recent times with the A-League and all the rest, and it's only growing. They call it the world game for good reason. Now, 4G speeds are still incredibly fast. I've sometimes personally discovered that when I do the speed tests, that 5G can be only a tiny bit faster than 4G. Sometimes 4G is faster than 5G. And I also notice that with upload speeds, I can get fast upload speeds on 4G than on 5G. And I'm sure this is going to change. And, we're going to have these MM-Wave 5G networks and all that sort of stuff coming later. But at the moment, mate, it's 4G. But is there any sort of time frame as to when you might go to 5G? And again, it's not really needed for most people at the moment.
No, and look, I guess it's not a priority for us because it's in minimal places, but it's definitely on our portfolio of something we're building, right? So the key thing for us is that, when you work with an MVNO like Telstra, they provide you a network, etc., and systems, but your systems need to integrate into their systems, right? And that's the hard part, right? That's the work, the money, the time, and stuff like that. And so absolutely, it's part of the portfolio that we'll get offered from Telstra, or that we are offered from Telstra. Hopefully, in the new year, in the beginning, like towards the new year, like the beginning of the new year, is when we'll have it on offer. But my opinion is, I don't see it being a massive thing. Maybe towards the end of next year, I think. Right? But yeah, absolutely, it's on the roadmap.
And look, as more people go to 5G, that frees up the 4G network to have more users. So, it's sort of a good thing. It's a good thing in a way to not have 5G yet. And then, but it's obviously on the roadmap. So one of the things I've seen some of the competitors do is they've started up selling refurbished phones, which is done through some sort of another partner. And some of the refurbished phones are really great value, especially the Apple ones, which, have great longevity. But a lot of the Android phones are now getting, long update cycles as well, certainly the newest ones anyway. And so is that something you might be looking at in the future, some sort of refurbished store?
Yeah, refurbished handsets, all the above is something that we've always been looking at for a while, right? The challenge is to give it away as an inclusion means that you've got to put people into contracts, right? To fund it. And so for us, we've always been about no contracts. And, if you're not happy, leave within 30 days and get your money back and all these different things. But absolutely, we're looking at a bunch of different options, even if it's a mates rates where we give exclusive discount to a particular phone manufacturer to give to our customers and so on and so forth. So it's always part of the thinking, but we haven't got a plan for that yet.
Yeah. The other thing is that with a lot of the refurbished phones, the iPhone 7s and 8s are so cheap, you just buy them outright. There's no contract needed because they're $200, $300, $400, and it's up to the customer whether they want it, and it's fulfilled by somebody else. But I've just seen the great value that refurbished has brought, and just an idea that popped into my head. But obviously, you've been thinking about it too.
Yeah, and we've been thinking about it as how do we refer people to the right places to buy it instead of have to like, I mean, for us, like, we want the customer to have as much choice as possible, like, so if we can, our view is let's find the partners that have the right choice for our customers and refer them that way. And so we're still facilitating the sale to a certain degree, but we're letting our partners get the benefit of it, and we're not charging anything. So if they provide the benefit onto our customers, then actually our customers are going to get better service or a better price as well, right? Yeah. So that's sort of our angle on it.
Now, as we get towards the end of the interview, one of the questions I always love to ask is, what's your memory of your first computer?
It is, I think it was a Pentium 512 IBM computer, and the black computers back in, I'm trying to think, it was at 95, 96. It was the big black computer with the big tower that only had about 512 meg of RAM. That's about it, right? But it had both speakers, and it cost about $5,500. Yeah. I remember getting a personal loan to get it out, to use it on Windows 95 and dial-up. I remember back there.
Yeah,
no, I was using Untitled, I think it was called. Untitled.
Yeah, those were the days. We've come a long way since then.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so what was your first mobile phone and your first smartphone?
So first mobile was probably most like a lot of people my age is that the Nokia 5110, right? I mean, I'm thinking I got it back in 1997. I think I got it, but my first smartphone was the BlackBerry Storm. Yeah, so that was my first smartphone. I wouldn't say it was the best smartphone, but it was something that was their competitor to the time that iPhone was trying to go out there with their first phone, right? But yeah, if you want to call it a smartphone, the first one was a BlackBerry Storm.
So you mentioned it before about yourself. You were working for Microsoft in Singapore, and your brother was working in wholesale. But what's encapsulate that version again of what gave you guys the idea to want to start an internet provider? What was the spark, and why did you call it, mate?
Mate, so the reason why we even started the business is that our parents migrated to Australia, back in the 50s, 60s, and they came to Australia with nothing with my grandparents, and my mum had to leave school at year 8 to get a job to put food on the table, and so we've seen them struggle for all our life and gave us every opportunity to do what we do today, and so. When we thought about running our own business, it was all back on to make a difference for our family, which is our parents and our brothers and our sisters, right? So that was the catalyst and the motivation for it. Then we saw what is something that we can produce in the market, or what can we sell that's gonna get impact. And at that time, David was the wholesale manager. He was dealing with a lot of telco providers, just like us at Mate. Mm-hmm. And what happened is that he saw that no one was focusing on NBN, because NBN was starting to get rolled out. No one was focusing on it because the ADSL points of margin was too big. So all the big guys weren't focusing on it. And so we said, let's just go straight out with NBN, no contracts, unlimited data. And that's how we started. And, we took advantage of that for a certain length of time. Mm-hmm. And obviously our business has changed since then because of all the competition in the market. And the next reason why we called it Mate is because we did our research. People hated a telco provider. They didn't understand the contract they were on. They never, if a new offer came out, because they weren't a new customer, they could never get it. Yeah. And then they were locked into a contract, so they couldn't get out. And so we went out with, if you look at our services, everything that we offer to a customer is available to new and existing customers, right? That's something that we do. And we said, well, what do you trust? Sometimes you don't trust your family, but it's you love your family and you can't choose your family, but you can always choose your mates. And we said, well, you know what? We want our customers just to be our mate. Mateship was one of the first values that we described as our business, and that's literally how we called it Mate.
Yeah. Well, it's a good and simple story, and it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that we're coming from an Italian background. We've got about 70 staff, right? And 19 of them are cousins. So, and we actually ran out of cousins to hire to go to the general public. There you go.
So what are your other keys to success and productivity in this hectic world that we all live in now?
Yeah, look, I mean, for us, I mean, if I look at success, I mean, if I look to the consumer, we have 3 consumer offering models, right? Competitive pricing, bundle and save, and value-added services like Title, for example. So that's our 3-pronged approach to our offering to the market. if I look behind the scenes, like in Mate, the reason why we're so, I think we're successful is that we have key methodologies. Our big one is process planning communication, right? That's our biggest thing internally. And we use technology software that drives our business, like Asana, all right? We say in our business, I don't know if anybody's heard of Asana, but Asana is a key business planning productivity tool, right? And we always say, if it's not in Asana, it didn't happen, right? And so Asana allows us to assign projects to different people, allows us to keep on top of our deadlines and stop something from happening if a particular task before that hasn't been completed, right? And so that's a very top line level, but those are the things that keeps our business running and us to be able to achieve everything that we achieve.
So how do you see Mate evolving over the next couple of years? And how do you see the telco and mobile and NBN internet industries evolving by, say, 2030?
So if I look at 20, so I think the market now is a switch market. It's going to become a switch market very soon for NBN, right? And so I think everybody's pretty much connected, and it's going to be a switch market. I think by 2030, the trends I think are going to be, it's all going to be about eSIM. Why would you have a SIM card from a mobile perspective? And I think the focus is going to be gestures, right? From a device technology perspective, it's all going to be about how you gesture something on the device that you're using, right? For Mate, we've got, when we another thing, we built Mate as a brand. Think of Virgin, right? When we built Mate, we thought of Virgin, right? So Mate it's never just going to be internet and mobile. It's going to be more than that. And so we've built our brand so it can go across multiple products. And we're working on probably 5 different products at the moment that we want to bring to market outside of telco products that we think can complement our telco products. And that's going to be the next phase of our growth.
Yeah. So look, I just thought of this. One of the things that I've been reading about recently is how Telstra has taken people on their 100 meg download speed and 40 meg upload speed, and they've changed them. They've taken that plan away and they've put them on 100 meg down, which of course everyone's happy with, and 20 meg up. And people are saying, well, this is the worst possible time to halve the amount of upload because we're all doing Zoom meetings and kids are studying for HSC. And how can you be halving people's upload speed right in the middle of the pandemic, the worst, the real pandemic? Last year was just a joke compared to what we're going through this year. So what have you guys got? Have you done what Telstra's done and halve people, or have you got the 2 plans? And what are your prices? And on top of all of that, I see this craziness where people are saying, oh, you get this great price for 6 months, and then the other 18 months of your supposed, or the rest of it is at this higher rate. So let's start with the 140 first.
Yeah, so we have the 120 and the 100 by 40 plan, right? Yep. We haven't changed anybody unless they've asked for it. So whatever plan the customer chooses, they get, right? Yeah. And so if I look at the 100 by 20, it's $79 a month, and the 100 by 40 is $89 a month, and that's the differentiator. If you want the double the upload speed, it's $10 extra. But don't forget, if you bundle with the mobile, you get $10 off that a month as well, right? Okay. And to your point, there's no fads. There's no 6-month fads. That's always on, right? So, and so we don't. We have the bundle and save is always on. It's not for a 6-month period, and the price stays as is as you see it now. And if there's a benefit later where I know that the wholesale prices go down and we can change our pricing, then all our customers get that as well, right?
Yeah. Well, you should put out a press release that says we haven't halved anybody's upload speed. We've got excellent pricing for the 120 plan, the 140 plan. We don't have the 6-month special deals either, which are maddening. I mean, what are the prices of your 250, your 500, and your gigabit plans?
So our highest plan that we go to at the moment is the 250, right? And that's $99 a month. Okay. And if you look at some of our competitors, they're at $129, right? Yeah. And don't forget, if you bundle a mobile with that, you get it for $89, right? And so look, the challenge with that, it's only limited to the fiber to the fiber to HFC and fiber to the premise, right? But we know it's the best price in the market, especially if you bundle as well. And there's no fads on that as well. And don't forget, we've made the first 30 days is also risk-free guarantee. So if you transition to Mate and you're not happy, you can leave, and we give you your money back for the first month as well. And
on the 250 plan, what's the upload speed?
So the typical evening speed is we say it's 208 megabits per second, but I mean some of our customers obviously get up to 245 or whatever it is.
Sure, so what about the upload speeds?
Upload is 25. Yeah, 25.
And is it possible to get a higher upload speed on that plan if you wanted to, or not yet?
Not yet. No, like I mean, that's sort of something that we need the NBN to come and tell us to go and offer it to us, right? So,
Yeah.
but not at the moment, no, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
And
I mean, it's yeah, I see it changing though because we're home now, right? We're doing schooling, and I definitely see a better upload plan coming.
yeah, yeah. And just very, very quickly as well, I mean, what is your message to the NBN about all the craziness with the CVCs and, they're billing you on the basis of it's metered, but you have to offer it to as unlimited to consumers. I've heard other telcos complain about that quite openly. I mean, presumably you'd have some sort of similar message to the NBN to make it simpler and cheaper.
Yeah, look, our message all the time is simplification. Like the amount of work that goes behind the scenes to work out a pricing model for our customers is crazy, right? And it shouldn't be like that. And I mean, the easier they make it, the more opportunity that us as a brand are going to be able to give the value back to the customers as well. So I mean, we've argued, not argued, but we've had certain conversations about certain different things. But our message to them is simplify the process so we can do it easier. Like think about the consumer, not at the end of the day. And so I think that's getting across because they're definitely looking at changing a bunch of things. So I know they haven't come out and announced it yet, but there is a bunch of things they're looking at changing.
Sure. Now, my second last question to you is simply, what's the best piece of advice you've received in life to help you get where you are today?
So look, my mum didn't come up with this, but she always told me this, is that people don't always remember what you did, but they never forget how you made them feel, right? And so that's how I've built my life, who I am, and that's how I've built my business as well. That when you come to Mate, we want you to feel good about it, not about what we've done for you, whether we give you a good service or a good internet. We want you to feel good about choosing us, and that's what keeps customers longer, and I think that's what gives it the best possible experience, and that's the one best bit of advice.
So what's your final message to ITY viewers and readers and to your current and future customers and partners?
For the ITY audience, don't forget about challenger brands. Challenger brands offer extreme value, great service, and a differentiator from the big guys. At Mate, we will treat you like a mate, and you'll get the service that represents being your best mate. So, choose a provider you can trust like a mate.
Well, Mark Fazio, General Manager of Mate, thank you very much for your time. I hope we can speak again in the future, and I'm going to have to look about becoming a customer.
Love it, Alex. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.